Hello, welcome to Charters Talk 4630. I'm your host, Stacey Mallory. Thanks to all of you who take a little time out of your schedule to tune in. And before we get started, if I could remind you to go onto YouTube, go to the search engine, type in 3 separate words, Chargers Talk 4630. Press the like button, give a thumbs up, hit the notification button on the right. And as always, it doesn't cost you 1 penny to subscribe. This way, you'll never miss a show or a podcast. And also, your device, whether it's a tablet, phone, or computer, it will send you a notification as a reminder that either we are live on the air or we've just released the latest content. And also, you don't have to just be a Chargers fan because everyone who listens and supports us is always welcome here. Okay, now joining us is a special guest who's from Vermont, but currently resides in New York. He's been a Buffalo Bills fan for 14 years. He's currently attending college to be a draft scout. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome from Chargers Talk 4630, Mr. Jae Davis. Jay, how you doing this evening?
I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time to come on and chat with me about how did you end up as a Buffalo Bills fan and for how long?
Of course, it's my pleasure. I chose my teams when I was about 10 years old. Probably younger, probably like 6. Based off the color, funny enough. My parents grew up diehard Steelers fans, so they're from Central PA.
Okay.
So they put a big Steelers bobblehead in my room, a big everything Steelers. But for some reason, I don't know, I was a big blue fan. I chose all my teams off blue, the Bills, the Brewers for baseball, the Magic for basketball, Duke for college basketball, but off the color blue. And that was even when they were really bad in like the Ryan Fitzpatrick, JP Lossman era.
Yeah. So you was a Steelers fan earlier?
I didn't really start watching football until I was like 6. And that was when like I'm just a big sports junkie. So I got into like all the like football encyclopedias and stuff like that. And but yeah, and I was never really a Steelers fan, which is really strange because my parents really pushed it a lot.
Okay. We're going to just jump right into it. So we heard the breaking news this afternoon that Adam Schefter reported that Buffalo Bills traded Stephon Diggs to Houston Texans for a 2025 second-round pick, and the Texans also received the Bills' 2024 sixth-round pick and the 2025 fifth-round picks. In 4 seasons, Diggs led the NFL with 444 receptions, finished with in the top 4 receiving yards with 5,372. He received I think he had 37 touchdowns. He made the Pro Bowls all 4 seasons. Now, this kind of took me back a few weeks ago when this trade dropped, because I remember maybe 3 weeks ago, the Chargers entering to the offseason, you had serious salary cap issues. So we knew that some people, some popular players, some players that we didn't want to see go, was going to have to leave. We knew some tough decisions were going to have to be made. They released Mike Williams, which we expected because of his injury history, although a really good receiver. They got Khalil Mack to reconstruct his contract. They also got Joey Bosa to take a $7 million pay cut this year. And when they asked Keenan Allen to take a pay cut, Keenan Allen refused to do it. He was coming off his best season in the NFL. So that led to a huge explosion on X. A few of my friends that are Charger fans, everyone was upset. They was disappointed. They were angry. They were frustrated because the last thing we thought is that you would trade Keenan Allen, who arguably is one of the most popular or best wide receivers that the Chargers has had to date. With that being said, tell me, when the news dropped today about Stephon Diggs, how did you feel when that happened?
I was actually right before my class, and my friend showed me his phone and said, Adam Schefter, Stephon Diggs has been traded to the Houston Texans. And I thought it was one of those like jokes, like, you know, sometimes you get like noties on X where it's like, oh, a fake Adam Schefter account. So I went on and I saw that it was true. I kind of like ran out of the room just in shock, honestly.
Yes.
Mainly because of that dead cap hit. I didn't think it was going to be possible. A lot of TV personalities have said rumors, and I kind of just denied it because I did not think it was possible. $31 million dead cap is no joke. And then I saw
why you didn't think it was possible? Because we know the last couple of years, Josh Allen and his relationship has been kind of strained. And, you know, I know the last 8 games of the season, I think he only had 1 touchdown pass. So they were infusing a new offense that was kind of fusing him out, so to speak, for the receiver that he is?
A big part of that was Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey, our old offensive coordinator. He schemed up a lot of plays to do to beat coverages. Like, so if there was cover 3, he'd run a like flood concept. So he'd use Diggs in the majority of that role. Once Joe Brady came in, our new offensive coordinator, he kind of schemed players open versus Dorsey just let them go and do their thing. I knew. Obviously, I seen his tweets. I follow them. You know, it's diva attitude, but you know, it's Stephon Diggs. At the end of the day, he's a great wide receiver, and it absolutely sucks to have him gone. But I didn't see it coming, mostly because of that dead cap hit. I didn't. The Bills were already in not a great cap situation already, with starting negative 50 something. It was a matter of the combination of the value that we got back, which I did not appreciate as much as other people did, and the sheer fact that like Stephon Diggs is still a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
Absolutely, maybe top 5.
Yeah, people hate on him for that one playoff game, but you know it's all right. But yeah, I see a lot of like Josh Allen's. A lot of his success has become because of Stephon Diggs, but it's not all because of Diggs.
Right.
However, Diggs, to have him not on the team now, he was a guy that would take away 2 defenders every play. So guys like Khalil Shakir, guys like Jae Davis, guys like Dalton Kincaid would always get open because they had one-on-one coverage.
Absolutely.
But we're going to miss that a lot.
Have you talked to any friends of yours that are Bills fans or family that expressed how they felt? Because I remember when this happened with Keenan Allen, Charger fans were like, X had exploded. I was trying to remind people that even though it's a sport that we love the game of football, we love a lot of the players we fall in love with, but we have to understand that it is a business too. And this is the ugly side of the business part that we hate. We can't keep everybody. And we were kind of blindsided. We didn't expect that because Harbaugh, when he first was hired, he constantly was talking about how great Keenan Allen was. And so we never expected him. But with Stephon, we've seen the last 2 years with the blow-ups on the sidelines between him and Josh Allen, and then how he was kind of X'd out of the offense where they went more to a running game, which I have to admit, they had a lot of success when they were running the ball.
Yeah, Dorsey wouldn't want to run the ball at all. To go off your point of the sideline blow-ups,
okay,
a lot of it, some of it was just like, you know, boys being boys, you know, this friendly banter, like trying to make each other better. But I go back to, there's this one play that shout out all my boys over at Cover One, great Bills news guys. They brought up today that there was this play against Cincinnati in the playoffs a couple years ago. Josh Allen rolls out. Stephon Diggs makes the corners playing outside coverage, so Diggs got to release inside. He still beats the corner very bad and was wide open for a touchdown, but Josh Allen decides to hold it and makes a different play and makes it incomplete. And that was on 4th down, a big 4th down in the game. So then Diggs went on the sideline, and that's where you get your famous photo from that Cincinnati game. And then from there, it has just gone downhill. I know there was something where Allen mentioned, you know, like one of those like celebrity parties where he's like, I don't essentially need him anymore, but it's kind of like Diggs, I would say, did this to himself rather than the Bills wanting to get out of it. An interesting thing, during Brandon Beane, our GM's presser today, he did mention about how they needed to trade players when the value and the timing is right. He was basically inferring that like when you have the value and you get an offer that you think is more than what you value that player, then you gotta take it. Expensive wide receivers on the decline. Frankly, Diggs was not as good as he was in previous years.
I don't think either one of them was on a decline. You know, I still think Diggs the top receiver, but also Keenan Allen, after 11, 12 seasons, he was coming off his best season since he'd been in the league.
Keenan Allen did have a great season. I take that back. Yeah, you know, Keenan Allen was fantastic last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of.
It's the business part, man, that we don't like. You know what I mean? It's the business side that we hate, and with numbers, with the cap and all, and his age. You know, you take all that stuff in account. Fans, we don't want it. We want to keep him. We're sitting back saying, listen, you guys got to work that out. Now you get ready to find what life is like without Stephon Diggs. And we're going to see, because he did elevate Josh Allen to a different level when he came, because the same as he did Kirk Cousins when he was with Minnesota. But let me go into this. If somebody asks me, is there one thing that come to my mind when I think about the Buffalo Bills? The one thing that will always stand out to me is that from 1990 to 1993, they appeared in 4 straight Super Bowls. I'm sorry, I know this kind of hurt a little bit, but
I wasn't alive, to be fair. I wasn't alive.
Right, I understand. But 4 straight Super Bowls in a row, and they lost all 4 of them. But in your time as a Bills fan, does trading Stephon Diggs feel like the worst trade that you could remember?
Ooh, boy. Originally, I thought, yeah, that was, especially with the compensation we got back. But then I think back to the Kelvin Benjamin trade that we made. I think we gave him a first, I want to say. Maybe it was a second.
Yeah.
But like at the time, it made no sense. Kelvin Benjamin, I mean, he was an all right player, but he was never that like elite separator that the Bills really need on the roster. And of course, it never panned out. Maybe the Sammy Watkins trade up, that was pretty bad. But of course, these trades are all in high, like maybe at the time, this trade sounds good. Like the Sammy Watkins trade might have sounded good at the time, but we'll see in this year and the next year about how this will actually pan out.
Yeah, listen, as of right now, as it currently stands, he went to a good situation, because if CJ Stroud resembles anything what he did last year, Houston might be a team to look out for, definitely.
Stroud, Nico.
Oh, yes, absolutely, 100%. Diggs is not the only receiver you guys lost. Now, I know Gabe Davis is not Stephon Diggs by no stretch of the imagination, but he was drafted by the Bills in the 4th round of the 2020 draft. He started 47 games. He had 27 touchdowns in that span. He also played in 7 postseason games where he was very productive in scoring 7 touchdowns. But kind of similar situation to the Chargers because they lost both of their start wide receivers, and now you have your 2 starting wide receivers gone. How do you think the Bills should address these needs at wide receiver? You think the draft, you still got June 1st cuts coming on, or you see another trade happening?
Well, after June 1st, the Bills, they cut Jae Davis White, so they will get an extra $10 million in cap space. But that only gets us to about $13 million. I was discussing today Justin Jefferson, which probably is not going to happen. Someone like Brandon Ayuk or T. Higgins, or my favorite is a Terry McLaurin situation. That'd be pretty cool. But the most realistic approach is going up and getting a guy in the 1st round, and even double dipping at that point. I think that I could see the Bills taking someone like Xavier Legette at 28, and then Javon Baker or Ricky Pearsall at 60. But my favorite option right now, and I think we will do this because Bean did trade for that Vikings 2nd round pick, not the Texans. And that's important because the Vikings currently have Sam Darnold at quarterback, which will probably lead to that being a high 2nd round pick.
Absolutely,
I believe that our 1st round pick is definitely on the table. And a trade up makes sense. Maybe like with the Bears for like Odunze is still there. I wouldn't mind a Brian Thomas Jr. trade up at all. It's probably going to cost 2 firsts and a second. A team like the Broncos can make sense because the Broncos might want to snag a quarterback, but they think it's too early for value.
Right.
And they don't have as much capital. I would love Brian Thomas Jr. He's one of my favorite guys in the draft. I call him like a Julio Jones almost. His size, he's 6'3", got great speed, great athleticism, contested catch guy. He can do it all. He's just limited route tree, but NFL coaches can easily teach you that.
Okay. We always hear the term Bills Mafia when they talk about the Buffalo Bills. Can you explain to us what does Bill Mafia mean and where they come from?
Bills Mafia is just like the whole culmination of Bills fans. Like, I went to my first Bills game this past November for my birthday.
Okay.
I made it on national TV actually, which is funny enough. And everywhere you go, everyone's just welcoming. Like they'll offer you food if you walk up to your to a thing. There's this guy named Pinto Ron who sits in this parking lot grilling hot dogs, and then that's where he gets sprayed with ketchup and mustard the whole time. There's this dude that Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports reviewed. His pizza, he mixed that up a filing cabinet. It's just like Bills Mafia is just like everything. It's like everyone's so positive, everyone's so supportive of each other. every time you see another Bills fan, you got to say "Go Bills" or else it's not valid. Yeah, Bills Mafia, like again, and you can see from like all the donation stuff, like from Lamar Hamlin to Lamar Jackson to Andy Dalton to Joe Burrow. It's Bills Mafia is everything. I am now in Central New York for college, so I have been to the Broncos Bills Monday Night Football game, and that was pretty surreal. I plan on going a lot more though.
How cold was it?
It was mid-November. It wasn't that bad. It was like 30s.
Okay.
I'm from Vermont too, so I'm used to the cold.
Okay, right. Okay, cool. Listen, we mentioned earlier that you're currently in college to be a draft scout. Can you talk to us more in detail? What does that mean? And is that preparing you to possibly have a future in the NFL as a scout?
So my whole life, I've really been doing this like on the side, like just as a side hobby. I started back in like 2014, looking at like through like draft guides, like in magazines, like just not knowing that much. And then I've kind of transitioned in the past 5 years to making like draft boards and looking at guys. And this year I really took it to another level, kind of this like digging into all 22, digging into a lot of like measuring pro day stuff, measuring Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, combine stats versus other people. And I hope it does prepare me. I'm going to transfer to a new college next year. I'm going to get into an analytics major program, which should help me a lot. But it should be fun. I'm hoping to launch a page here soon. So we will find out about that.
The draft that's coming up. Who do you like at the top 4 picks in the draft? Not 4 picks in general, just quarterbacks.
Just quarterbacks. I think Caleb still goes 1. It makes sense. The hype is there, but he'll still go 1. I'm not buying the smoke at all on Jaden Daniels nor McCarthy, although I do have Drake.
Tell me why you say it about Jaden.
Jaden Daniels, the more I watch him on film, the more like I see his kind of like flaws. Like his reads are really, really like fast. If he doesn't have his first read, he's gonna check it down and run it, or he's gonna scramble out of the pocket and make a poor throw. But he does have that like on the run ability to make those type of throws. But at the NFL level, you see it with Justin Fields. Like if you don't have enough pocket awareness and read progressions, you're not going to be like a successful pocket quarterback.
That's why the NFL have some great coaches. It'll be good for some of those guys that have a lot of potential, but just not NFL ready yet to sit behind a veteran, which always help. I remember when Phillip Rivers came out in 2004, he actually sat his first 2 years behind Doug Flutie and Drew Brees. And when he came in 2006, he was ready to go, went 14-2 that year. So everybody don't come out like a CJ Stroud and come out and have the kind of season that he had as a rookie. That's very rare. But that's interesting that you said that about Jaden, because I actually thought his upside was pretty good. I'm
still a fan of him. Yeah. And I also agree with your take on that. I made a tweet some time ago. It's like, if you look at the most successful quarterbacks in recent history, Brady got to sit a little bit. Lamar got to sit. Mahomes got to sit. Drew Brees got to sit, right? A whole year, right?
Yeah.
On the Chargers. Yeah. Rodgers got to sit. Favre got to sit. And then like, if you look at like Jordan Love and Brock Purdy's success, it is most likely because they got to sit and watch. The thing is with quarterbacks is a lot of teams get too antsy and they get too they're not patient enough with these quarterbacks. Like they don't let them develop enough. And then when they don't have weapons around them, or like take Josh Allen, for example, like Josh Allen first year was throwing to Zay Jones, Kelvin Benjamin, and Andre Holmes. And he didn't look good. He was raw. He didn't get a chance to sit behind anyone. And he was just not NFL ready at all. And then if you look at his progression, he gained John Brown, he gained Cole Beasley, and he took a step up. And then he gained Stephon Diggs. And that's why people attest Diggs' success to Josh Allen. But it was more of him maturing into the quarterback that he's supposed to be.
And some people, it takes a little bit more time for them to learn, because I've asked people, name off the top of your head who's receiver for CJ Stroud. They can't tell me. But look at the season that he had. That tells you a lot about how special I believe that this guy is,
100%.
Well, listen, man, it was good chatting with you, man. I enjoyed this, and I definitely thank you for coming on. I wish you so much luck with your college, and with being maybe we'll end up seeing you down the road at the combine or something like that. You know what I mean? Well, Jay, thanks, man. I hope you come back soon and we could talk, especially maybe after the draft. We can get together after seeing what you guys do in the draft, and we could talk a little bit during the season. But I appreciate you coming on today, man.
100%.
And I wish you luck. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
You too, man.
Okay. Well, that ends another segment of Chargers Talk 4630. I want to thank Jae Davis for coming on, big-time Buffalo Bill fan from New York City, and sharing his thoughts about the Stephon Diggs trade. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. If you want to help our podcast grow, please share this link with someone, and don't forget to subscribe. So thank you again for tuning in. Peace. Good night. See you soon.